everybody, welcome back to the channel. More Birthright here as we work on some of the other areas of the Brecht campaign expansion, notably some of the more infamous or famous people that we've seen in some of the domains so far. So one of those, which we recently kind of got to with Graben Toad, is in fact Albrecht Graben, and we do again get a little bit of a sort of a cameo almost of him in the Hag's Contract novel for Birthright. But let's jump in with this guy. And as always, as one might suspect here, since we're going from 2nd edition to probably 5th edition, is what you'd be playing the game as now, as opposed to truly playing it as 2nd ed D&D. Certainly some tweaks are in order for some of the characters, and by all means adjust however you feel they should be for your campaign. But let's jump in. He's a 5th level fighter / 6th level thief of Birthright. So again, multi-class here. One of the rare, I think honestly even this is the first multi-class character we've seen here in some of these profiles. Now he's incredibly strong, 1833. That's kind of something from 2nd ed, but basically, treat him as either strength 18 or 19. Either should be fine for your campaigns. Pretty decent dexterity of 16, but then overall, just the rest of it's very low stats, surprisingly for one of the named characters. Constitution of only 10, intelligence at 12, wisdom and charisma are his low stats at 8 apiece. He is neutral evil. Again, old armor class system here, but AC of 8. Only 34 hit points. I would definitely tweak that and bump that probably into the high 40s or 50s, honestly, if not more. Typical movement, Thaco is not a thing anymore. Probably, depending on how you want to go through and kit him, with sort of a conversion into 5th ed, certainly should have multiple attacks, I think, by now. Damage output, again, might change a little bit depending on how you tweak things. He does have a bloodline of Vorin, and pretty solid at 23, and really 2 cool abilities, especially for a king: Unreadable Thoughts and Resistance as a major ability. Now, some of his equipment, which he currently doesn't have as he is sitting in prison in Muden, he would theoretically get back if he were released. A +2 Morningstar called Drauchlau, which is Lobrecht for Dragon's Mauler, kind of pseudo-German there. And then actually just straight up leather armor +3, so pretty good stuff there. Now his history is kind of unique, and sort of he claims descent from the ancient line of Graben Toad, but there's been disputes for that. So, no one's, as it says here, the first kings of Graben Toad, no one's been able to prove or disprove this, but he does essentially lack the nobility of the ancient ancestors. He's a brute of a man. He muscled his way to the throne after 2 elder brothers and a younger sister, who were all essentially in line before him, died in, we'll just say, mysterious circumstances, but in battle or at sea. Supposedly, he blames the deaths of the siblings on the navies of Muden and Danigau, although no one's really seen him shed too many tears for that. Now, the Graben Toad's pirate kings have made a living on the Overlook for generations by preying on the free traders of Birthright, and even more profitably, on the sea traders of other lands. Always striking quickly and from a point of strength, the pirates of Graben Toad practically seal off the Great Bay at times, but only on rare occasions. Earlier kings never risked angering the navies of the Southern Realms or the Island Mage, who also traffics in piracy. But, as with all greedy people here, Albrecht overextended himself. Cruel, greedy, and full of his own power, he laid down an ultimatum to the other regions of the Krakenaurecht: pay tribute or watch Great Bay shipping shut down indefinitely. He trusted his pirates to evade or defeat any offensive by Muden or Danigau, and he saw the distraction of the Island Mage as their weakness. However, he was lured into a trap by his enemies, and he saw basically his entire fleet destroyed, and pretty much all his men either killed or captured. And from our other video, we actually saw Captain Melisande Reaversbane of Muden actually captured him personally and basically locked him in a dungeon. So there he currently sits in prison, waiting to either be ransomed or rescued. He turns his mind towards the plots and schemes to effect his release and to inflict his revenge on the Royal Navy as soon as possible. But when we look at some of the other domain descriptions, like Muden, Graben Toad, and some of the other just general descriptions that we've seen, especially also in like the Hag's Contract novel, we really get a sense that like he's not necessarily wanting to get rescued or to be released. He's kind of comfortable there. But again, it's sort of some potential link between him and the Hag, and there's a lot of not necessarily greatly explain things, but long story short, no one's necessarily making a big push to get him back, as we saw also in the Graven Toad entry. So kind of in a limbo status here, but essentially I would look at it for a campaign as like just a great sort of wild card. All these different factions either would like to see him just permanently locked up or freed, and what that would mean for Graven Toad and really the whole area here. There's just a lot of great things to consider, but so interesting to see how a DM might want to play that. And certainly would be a notable event that, regardless of whatever realm that you're currently in the Brecht area, would make some major note, and certainly would be sort of a catalyst for a whole lot of stuff changing. So now his domain, as we saw, chaos rules in Graven Toad, as detailed in the previous entries, right? The king's men still regard him as their leader, but other pirates and rebels threaten his tenuous hold on the regency. The longer he is kept away from Graven Toad, the harder it will be for him to return. The one hope the Pirate King has is in his reputation. His aggressive nature and relative bravery did make him wealthy, and many of the more comfortable pirates or nobles in Graven Toad feel reluctant to give up on a safe bet. So, again, as I mentioned, a fantastic character in the sense of he's not necessarily like some sort of evil mastermind, but just very just basic, but a greedy sort of brutish pirate. But then again, just represents like this wonderful sort of, again, agent of chaos almost. Again, if he were freed, whether just actually released by Muden, which seems like unlikely for them to do, or broken out, would be a fantastic campaign idea for some, maybe like if the characters weren't necessarily good aligned or found themselves in some way contacted or contracted, rather to maybe attempt to free him underneath the noses of Muden, which would probably earn you their enmity forever. But there's also just so many interesting possibilities if he were to return to the rulership of Graven Toad and what that would mean. Likely, potentially some increased conflicts brewing there. All kinds of stuff, and again, there might be some elements in Graven Toad that really don't necessarily want him to come back either. So there's so many different ways that can be played. But curious to see what you guys say. Have you run into Graben in your campaigns, whether as another ruler or as adventurers, and how did that work out for you guys? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.